Hello everybody, welcome to WhatCulture Gaming. I'm Scott and let's just talk about Halo's big return. It's been 6 years since Halo 5. It's been a long time, 14 years since Halo's felt this good. I've just been playing Halo Infinite non-stop for about 48-ish hours so far, and I'm going to dive into a whole bunch of tips and tricks, gameplay tweaks, different things that you should try to get the most out of the gameplay side of things. Now, Halo Infinite overall is a big old thing, and by the time this goes live, all the reviews will be out for the campaign, the reviews will be out for Halo Infinite itself overall. We might even have another video up in regards to what it feels like to play the overall package of Halo Infinite, but I'm just going to dive into the multiplayer side of things because that's what I've been getting lost in since launch. I haven't played anything else. So without any further ado, I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com and this is Halo Infinite 12 tips and tricks the game doesn't tell you. Number 12, you can catch thrown fusion coils. It's as straightforward as it sounds. All you need to do is make sure you're holding X and you'll catch any fusion coil thrown at you. You can do it while you're reloading. As long as you're holding X or pressing X when that thing is about to hit you, you'll catch it instead and can just stonk it off a Spartan's face the next time around. There's a really cool medal called Kong whenever you smash someone in the face with a fusion coil, and it's just one of the best feelings of the year, to be honest. Number 11, use the grapple hook if you fall off the map. Full-on Titanfall 2 territory, it feels like 2021 is probably just the beginning of grapple hooks in everything, but Halo Infinite is one of the best so far. You can aim around the environment, you can use it to Spider-Man swing you around various maps, and if you happen to fall off, just aim back at the environment itself at part of one of the walls or wherever you are, and you can use the grapple hook to get right back up and back into the match itself. The way that Halo Infinite's maps work, you don't immediately go into the instant death falling animation when you do tip off the side of a map, so you have a lot of time to turn back around, shoot at the wall, get yourself back in the game. It's also worth pointing out that the grapple has a lot of different utilities. You can use it to retrieve weapons, to grab fusion coils, to latch onto vehicles for skyjacks, to close distance on enemies directly, or you can just shoot a Spartan right in front of you who's on low enough health to finish them off in one hit. Number 10, switch to your sidearm instead of reloading. This is more of a tip for the likes of quick play or big team battle, anything where you're starting out with an assault rifle and a pistol. Point being that if you dump a clip into some dude and they don't die, just hit Y Call of Duty style and switch to your next weapon to finish them off. The sidekick pistol is surprisingly effective at quite a long distance as well, more so than the assault rifle, and it's always worth switching to just fire off a few shots and get the kill. Number 9, know your reset times. So everything with Halo Infinite's unlock system, the XP, the progression, it's a big old thing. There's already been 2 light overhauls since launch. It's kind of in a beta period. It's kind of not because they're charging a lot of money for different microtransactions. Point being, 343 are listening to feedback, listening to complaints, agreeing with people, and then changing things on the go. So there is a latest version of Halo's XP, and the whole thing is still based around daily challenges and weekly challenges to get you through the battle pass as fast as possible. Point being, to get the most out of when to play, you need to know that weeklies reset every Tuesday, and your time zone will apply when it comes to what Halo classes as a day, which is also when a given week ends. We'll put everything on screen, so note yours down. Here, it's 5 p.m. For me, that means getting weeklies done before that cutoff point, then waiting until a fresh batch of dailies and weeklies comes around, triggering an XP doubler and flying through a bunch of levels at once. Yes, I'm ill. I have a sickness, and its name is Halo. Number 8, carry stockpile batteries between rounds to get ahead. This might change going forward. I feel like it's the kind of thing that's like a very light exploit, but when you're playing Stockpile and you need to make sure you're getting all the different power seeds back to your base, there are more on the field than you will need to power up a given base to try and benefit both sides, going towards putting 5 pips into their base to power it up. Point being, you can get to that collection of them in the field and just hold on to the ones that haven't been used when your base is powered up. If you're holding onto a seed when the round ticks over, it doesn't disappear or anything. You still have a fresh seed to run back to your base and power up the next round. You can just keep going. There's always enough on the field to carry over between rounds and get your team ahead next time. Number 7, you can pass right through enemies when climbing. This is absolutely an exploit. Everybody's been complaining about the fact that collision detection has just disappeared. You can stand inside another player, you can phase right through someone. It means that any melee exchanges, if you're trying to punch someone and they end up falling right through you, you just lose each other. It's a thing. It's a thing that'll hopefully be fixed, but 343 haven't addressed it yet, so you might as well take advantage of it. What I've been doing, and this largely applies mostly to oddballs, say you're sitting in the corner of a map, you're hunkered down, you're holding the oddball, and you see on the radar that someone's about to come in from above you. Maybe there's a ledge or something that you're tucked in behind. Wait for them to be directly above you, and then just jump and climb straight through them. They won't know what the hell's happened. They'll be left wondering where you've gone, and you'll be away around the corner scoring some points for your team. Now, this does apply to, whichever other scenarios you can think of, but I would say just take full advantage of this stuff while you can. I hope it gets fixed because the melee side of things feels hilariously all over the place, but we might as well have some fun with it while we can. Number 6, you can favorite other players' armor parts to unlock later. Let's just go with the whole armor parts, armor core. Let's just pretend that we're excited about all these different parts of Spartan armor, which I am when it gets done properly. In this case, if you go into the scoreboard screen, or if you go on, view last match results after you've just finished a match, go on the scoreboard, select a player, then hit inspect armor. You can click on different things that might have appealed to you that caught your eye while you were playing. Maybe it's something that you want to unlock later down the line. You can look into a battle pass, find out where it is on that lineup, or just wait and see if it eventually pops up in the storefront. It might just be something that you want to zero in on, and you can keep track of this stuff by going deep into these menus and making your own custom favorite list. Number 5, change enemy color to something that stands out. Now, I absolutely love that we've got this whole, friends are outlined in blue, enemies are outlined in red. If you have someone on your team, it's outlined in green. But depending on the size of the map, if it's way off in the distance, sometimes that red is just going to blur together. Sometimes that'll blur together with some explosions. Either way, you can go into the menu and change the player outline color to something that really stands out, regardless of any other colors that might appear on the battlefield. To do this, you want to head into Settings, go over to UI, and go down to Outlines. Here you can pick from a whole bunch of different colors, so just pick a color that suits you, and it'll lead to way more easily identifiable enemies, way more headshots, way more abilities to take out the enemy when everything gets as chaotic as it tends to do in the average Halo match. Number 4, use the repulsor to launch multiple stockpile power seeds. Another thing that I've noticed after being given so many games of Stockpile and not a Slayer game, Where's the Slayer playlist, is the fact that if you equip the repulsor and just run over to all the different stockpile seeds, hit LB or whatever button you've got to assign to your power, and you'll launch all of them in one go. You can actually get a whole bunch of stockpile seeds back to your base in one go. It's a much faster way to get through that game mode and a way more useful way to power up your base. It's also worth pointing out that the repulsor will deflect pretty much anything that comes at you, whether it's rockets or heat wave blasts or whatever else, if you get the timing right. Also, if you hit LB and use the repulsor when you've got an enemy Spartan with a wall behind them, you can flatten them against that wall and you'll get a medal called a pancake. Hopefully this eventually factors into XP or something like that, because it's a really, really cool one-off that is just really awesome to see. Number 3, always mark enemies. Maybe this will come across in the campaign once people dive into the story side of things, but I feel like marking enemies is just something that only I ever do, and it's one of the most helpful things that you can do in any team-based game. Now, obviously, if you're playing with friends, you can encourage each other to mark enemies, literally say where they are on the map, but it's something that just helps with every single game mode. Just hit up on the D-pad. I think you can change this in terms of what you might want to map it to, but for me, if I'm on classic controls, it's up on the D-pad. Whenever I'm looking at an enemy, a collection of enemies, to put a little marker down on everybody else's HUD to let them know where enemies are, to also let them know where vehicles are. The side readout on the side of the screen will tell people how many different seats are left in vehicles. It's just a very helpful thing to do. It can help with teamwork, with getting everybody to focus fire on a certain place, and all round, just mark enemies. It's for the best in every single scenario. Number 2, the gravity hammer deflects rockets and other projectiles. God, I'm glad the gravity hammer is back and better than ever. Now, you've got to get the timing right for this, but if you happen to be on the swing as a rocket comes towards you, you can just ping it off in the other direction and then run straight at the person who's trying to reload. I've only pulled this off about 2 times, but it felt incredible, and it's something that I massively recommend. And number 1, play the objective. Oh dear God, the amount of people not playing the objective in Halo. Clearly this is just because the way that 343 have designed the challenges directly incentivizes you to not bother collecting the oddball or collecting the flag or doing anything other than spamming mangler kills in the corner or, trying to snipe someone from afar or whatever it is. But point being, if I'm sat there with the oddball and I really need the team to come up to me and help me defend and hold on to it so we can win, playing the objective is one of the best things you can do in a Halo game. It's kind of crazy to point this stuff out, but until the XP system and the progression systems change, you have to be actively encouraged or incentivized to play the objective, to actually play the mode that you've been put in and not just force Slayer left, right, and center otherwise. So yes, those have been my tips and tricks for Halo Infinite. Congratulations on the game finally coming out. By the time you watch this, the entire version will be available. So go enjoy the game, get stuck into multiplayer. Let me know your other tips and tricks, favorite things to do down in the comments. And for now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you soon.